Hi, this is Ben Roberts, lead convener and host of the Now What Global Gathering on the art of being fully human in a time of crisis. And recording this short video to give you a bit of a guide to the Now What Network Map, which is an incredibly valuable and also somewhat complex tool. It can be intimidating, I know, and so hopefully this will give you some confidence in navigating it a little bit. And it's also something that we're able to offer ongoing support for through things like the Now What cafes and the help circle on the Sutra platform. So I'm going to just take you over to the Now What website. This is the homepage, nowwhat2020.com, and show you that you can get to the map through this link here, the network map. And it's also linked to right down here. And the map is actually generated through a combination of two tools. One is called SumMap, which collects the data, and Kumu is the tool for visualizing it. I'm so grateful to Christine Capra and Tim Hansen of SumMap and Jim Best of the Master Mappers for all of the work that they've done to enable this network map to be here for us. So again, you can find it there. And also, if you go here to this link, the map is actually embedded in the Now What website, but you can also click here to open it in a separate window. And that's what I've already gone ahead and done. I should note that the map doesn't really work very well on phones right now, or maybe a little bit better on tablets, but unfortunately, it's something where you're going to have a much better experience if you're on a PC. So here we are in the main view of the map. The map actually has three different views right now, and some more are going to be added as we go. You can get to this sidebar with the general information, and there's more about it and how you use it down here that covers some of the things I'm saying. You just click in the white space on the map, and you can make this sidebar disappear by clicking on these three little dots. And the tab key also does that as well. And that's nice on a smaller screen, especially to make it easier to see the map fully. Um, so one of the things that says this note here, the map defaults to the people who are participating in the current edition of Now What. And so that's this box checked off here. You can see people in everybody who's registered, particularly when we started using the map in October, November, and that's a much larger cohort. But this lets you just look at who's here, and it shows you individuals. If you click on any one of them, you can also see some information that they provided in the registration and network mapping interface that we'll look at in a minute. So a lot of information that you can provide that will show up on the side window here. And you can also see information within these, these boxes about the connections between people. So if you click on one of those connection arrows, it shows, that this is my connection to Maya Wallach. I characterize it as a generative interaction. And here's a little bit of information about how we got connected. Most of the connections may not have that, but I'll show you in a bit how you can add that in. Another really interesting thing to see is the orange connections. This is someone I would like to meet. So here's Naomi Joy Smith saying that they would like to meet Mark Tunyati. So that's just a sample of some of what's powerful here. And let me show you how you can also get through some of the complexity and the tangle that it kind of develops in the map view. So here we've selected Naomi, and then I'm going over here to this focus button. And what that will do is show all the people that they are directly connected to, or in their case, Naomi has actually put out invitations to meet quite a number of people. This little expand and contract focus lets you go one layer up or down from there. So this is a way to get a little tighter focus. You might particularly want to find yourself on the map and do that. And the search button, by the way, is a very useful tool for doing that, especially as the map gets larger. But even now, it can be a little bit hard to see all the names. But if you just go up here into search, you can find people like my colleague Ninad Malkovich. Seeing we have a little bit of a problem in terms of displaying some of the characters that have accents and things like that. But here's Ninad, here's his profile. And again, if I click on focus, I can specifically see the people that he's showing connections to. Although, interestingly, right now we're not, oh, we have to raise the focus up one. Not sure why it went to that, but anyway, that gives us a chance to demonstrate that. You'll notice another thing here, these little colored decorations around the outside of people. So in my case, they're all checked off. In Nanad's case, we just see the orange and the purple. This corresponds to what people have identified as their primary intentions for being a part of Now What. You can also see that over here in the sidebar. So Nanad has checked off building relationships and finding new opportunities. And in many cases, you'll see their arrows going both ways. So that, this is because in the registration and network mapping interface, Nanad has shown a connection to RIA. RIA has also gone in and shown a connection to Nanad. And also you're seeing here that when you hover over a particular person, you get a quick little pop-up window about them as well. Let's see, the next thing I want to show you, if we, again, clicking here in the white space takes us back to the main sidebar, and right now it's highlighting these three views. So we have the geographic representation and needs and offers. It takes a second for these to load, so I've just already got them preloaded here, and we're looking here at the geographic view. And one of the things I just want to note about this is that if you do not put a location in, for some reason Kumu decides that you're in the Gulf of Guinea and places you down there. And these people are all overlapping. Well, it looks like now we can pull them apart and find them. So those people aren't actually hanging out off the coast of West Africa. The other thing I want to note here is that while Kumu's pretty good at picking up where you're located, it requires that you put that information in a particular way. So let's just jump over right now to the registration and network mapping interface. And the link to this is something that you will receive when you register, and you want to bookmark that so that you can come back to it at any time. And in the initial page here, you can put in a picture and a short little tweet about yourself. And then we have the profile page, and this is where that geographic information is getting picked up, as well as the information about which editions of Now What you participate in. So if this box is checked off, you'll be on the view of the map we were just looking at. I'm scrolling down here a bit to location, and it's quite important that you fill this in properly if you want to be represented on the geo map. So if you are in the United States, the format is the city, comma, and the 2-digit code for the state. If you put in the full name of the state, it will also pick that up and just put you kind of in the center of the state. But if you put in just the 2-digit code for the state, that confuses it. Often, like CA for California, actually the map thinks is Canada. Now, if you're not in the U.S., you want to put in city and type out the name of the country. So it's a different format for non-U.S. people because, of course, the United States is the center of the universe, and everything needs to revolve around us. So thank you for honoring our place of enormous and ridiculous and stolen privilege. Yes, now off my soapbox for a second, and I just want to show you a couple of other things here. So when you go into your own dashboard here on the interface, you have this array of options. It's another way to see the map, by the way, is in there. Let's take a look at connections for a second. So here we're seeing, initially when you go here, you will see everybody who is on this map, including people who participated in prior editions of Now What. And this text is explaining here, you want to use this survey-based filter and select just the current edition. And it actually tells you how many people have checked off the different boxes. And notice we're up to 74 right now here on March 14th, a little more than a week out from the launch of Now What. So if I check that box off, it's just going to show me who has signed up for the current edition. I can use this to see the most recent signups, which is a nice thing, especially if you're coming back here regularly, which you really want to do if you want those connections to really be up to date, right? Because people are going to be registering, getting themselves onto this platform on an ongoing basis, even once Now What begins and over the 6-week course of that. So this is the way that you can go in and at least see a little bit about who's there. And let's say that I know Verena, I can click this and I can say how, whether. So these are the options, and this also includes the someone I would like to meet option. And you also can say a little bit about your connection in this box, and that populates the information we were just looking at on the map. Now, one thing about this is that it's only giving you that tweet length description of a person. So if you really want to go in and say, who do I want to meet? And I would suggest being judicious about this. Don't just spam the map with 20 different things saying, I want to meet this person, this person, this person, right? Are you really planning to follow up? If you click that, I suggest you also intend to send them an email, right? And actually, say, hey, I saw you on the map and I'd like to meet you, and here's why. So that's something where I would go to the map itself, right? And I would clear the focus so we see the whole thing, and you might just be browsing around here. You can zoom in and out using these plus and minus buttons or the scroll bar, and you see somebody and just, wow, Natalia has a really interesting image that they've put up here, and I'm curious about that, so I want to find out more about them. And then you look and you say, wow, they're involved in the fashion industry, and I am very interested in that too. Here's Natalia's email. I'm going to find them back over here on the interface. I can actually just do a little search. Bingo. Whoops. Where'd Natalia go? I saw. Okay, there's Natalia. I'm going to say someone I'd like to meet. I'm going to say, I'm into fashion as well. Something like that. And you can also then grab their email and send that to them. So that is the Connections tab. This is another feature. I can't show you yet how it populates the map, and it wasn't there the last edition of Now What, so this is something new even for those of you who have been around before. The map will now be able to show entities as well as people, and they'll look different on the map. But similar to the way you can show connections to people, you can show connections to entities. So let's take, for example, Journeys into the More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible, which is an engagement stream to introduce morebeautiful.world and the MBW24.live initiative. Okay, so when you open this up, if it's an engagement stream, there's three different kinds of things on here: engagement streams, home groups, and partners. So you want to make sure if it's a partner, you're down here. If it's an engagement stream, you're up here, and you can say something about your connection to that. So maybe you want to participate, and this is one way to let those folks know you are interested and have it be visible on the map as well to others that you're participating. There might be other roles that you want to identify, and you again have a little box here to put in additional information. So this is going to get populated as we go with more and more elements. There are probably at least a dozen, if not something like 20 different engagement streams that are sort of bubbling up and will be flowing through Now What over the 6 weeks that it's taking place. If you filter by segment, you can see just the streams, or maybe you want to be looking at just the home groups, and we're just getting started with that now. This is something you see also in the registration invitation, and that in your profile and registration under the in this section, you can indicate your interest in a home group. Here we can see information about the home groups. Well, it's right there, but here's where you could say if you're interested. And so it goes down to the bottom here. You have to scroll up, but I can say, I want to participate. I want more info, or maybe I'm in a lead role in that home group. And then there'll be views on the map that show who's part of each home group, what their connections are to that, whether the home groups are participating in engagement streams. So there'll actually be entity-to-entity connections as well. So it's a very exciting aspect of the whole platform, and very excited to be offering that. I think that maybe, oh, one more thing that I want to show you. So when you fill out your profile, there's a section on skills, needs and offers, and you can go into that section and identify. We can pick up a single person. We can see here's Bree, and she identified skills that she can offer, as well as and there's an other as well. So these were standard things that could be checked off, and here was something else that they added in. Now, in some cases, there are needs that are identified as well. Let's see what Seferino's got here. Yeah, so he is saying that he can offer these skills and he needs these skills, and he's added some additional ones that weren't on the checklist. Now, so that's a basic way you can go, but here is where it really gets fun. And there'll be a drop-down menu shortly where you'll be able to just select these, but right now you can just zoom in and look, and so it's organizational development. I have a need for some support there. So I can just click that one, and similar to what you do with people, you use the focus button here, and now I can see everyone who is offering support with organizational development. So let's take a look. Here's Ulysses, and I can see more about him and decide, maybe this is a person who really can offer me some support. Well, for one thing, he probably speaks Spanish, and that's actually my native language, so I definitely want to talk to him, or that might be a reason, but he also is involved in organizational design and interconnected ecosystems, and that speaks to me. And he's also into networks, so maybe he's a good choice. Or perhaps there's somebody else I can look for. Here's another person who's in Belgium that could be valuable to me. I can vouch for Ria being an incredibly valuable person to get all kinds of support from. But in terms of organizational development, she might be somebody that you would pick out based on her profile here, etc. So you can browse through and identify different people who might be worth reaching out to meet some of the needs that you have. Similarly, if you're inclined to offer some support, you could look at who says that they need those skills, and there's a button down here where you can filter for these two things. I've noticed that this button's not always working, so we have a little glitch in here, and you might have to refresh the page in order to get that to work. So with that, I am going to stop the screen share and stop talking and wish you a good and prosperous journey into the varied spaces of Now What. And I'll just close with a note about, for those of you who aren't technophiles and may find some of this intimidating or overwhelming, two things that you can consider. One is to just come to one of the Now What Cafe calls where we're doing orientation and onboarding, and whether I'm there or maybe somebody else, we can play with the map and either show you how to do things, or use the map with you to find some of the things that you're looking for. So you don't have to be an expert in this. There's help available both to help you use it better or to use it on your behalf. The second thing is just to say, that experimenting and getting on the edge and sort of pushing our own limits in terms of technology is one of the things that Now What's all about. So it's not intended necessarily to be easy. It's intended to be a place where we can try new things out, even if those things aren't completely ready for prime time. Because the technology is only going to get better. It's only going to get easier to use, and experimenting with what these new capacities are and how we use them is really a part of the value here. My general sense is that the capacities that are out there, the array of different tools and platforms that are available to us, so far outstrips the ways in which we're actually figuring out how to use them, particularly in groups, in generative ways, that Now What is a place where we can really start to catch up with and take advantage of these incredible capacities that are available to us. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the Now What Global Gathering.